In this video, we'll talk about two major issues with my M1 MacBook Pro, and for me, they're real deal breakers. So I know everybody's excited about the new M1 Macs, and I certainly am too. I ordered mine. It took a while to get because it was the 16 gig, 1 terabyte version. It just worked very well. I'm a Final Cut Pro user. I use it every single day as part of my business. So I was very happy to see how snappy it was. I don't use a lot of other tools. I'm really a heads down Final Cut Pro user. There's music libraries from, I use Artlist. For my B-roll, I use Storyblocks. And most importantly, I use plugins. And I prefer Pixel Film Studios. I've used Motion FX plugins. I've used FX Factory plugins. But the bulk of my plugins are Pixel Film Studios. I have 97 of their plugins to date. So you can imagine to my surprise that I've been using these plugins for years. I've had this huge collection of them now. And none of them work on the Mac M1. Been in touch with Pixel Film Studios. I've asked them, can we get a list of when they're coming? Are they going to be a rollout, or are there going to be some quicker than others? And I got back a form letter that simply said, we're working as hard as we can. We hope to have all of our plugins updated within a few months. As you can imagine, this is just not acceptable. I have to run a business, and I was really surprised that I could not get any of the plugins to work. And that's not just Pixel Film Studios. That is, Motion FX, it's FX Factory. None of the plugins that I've acquired over the years work on the M1. Now, that's not a new issue. I think most of us know out there in YouTube land that these plugins don't work. It's just the responsiveness. When you run a business using these plugins and you paid a lot of money for these plugins, I understand it must be a lot to rewrite these programs for the M1, but it would seem to me that they would have been in touch with Apple long before this rollout, and they would have been prepared for something like this. It doesn't appear to be that way. So that's my first major issue with my M1 Mac. I was hoping, with all the hype out there, and I can tell you I bought into it too, that it is very snappy, it's very quick. I run a MacBook. My main editing station is a MacBook Pro 16, 32 gig of memory, 1 terabyte of storage with the M graphics card, and it works just fine. I have seen performance from my MacBook Pro that equals my MacBook 16. So, I'm thrilled with the performance and just the overall quickness is probably the best word to describe it, but I just can't use it for my production work. Then I hit a second deal breaker, and this is a major part of my business. I create posts, LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts, Twitter posts, Instagram, for customers. I create month-long campaigns. So every single day, myself, my staff, we build posts, what we call a campaign, or a campaign in a box, where we'll do 31 posts every day of the week for a month. And we build them quickly. We have to get these things out. We have to be able to adapt and change. We have to do A/B testing. So if a particular video or thumbnail works and another one didn't, we want to be able to replace it or go in that direction very quickly. So we need to respond within the next day to take down something that didn't work and replace it with something that might work a lot better. And believe it or not, we use PowerPoint. It's become so powerful over the years that we're able to strip in titles, animated fonts, videos, MP4s, and render them very quickly. And because they're only 3 to 5 seconds, 5 to 7 seconds, we can do this every day, all day. We can produce these thumbnails, these campaigns in a box very quickly with just PowerPoint. And it would flash, so it would play, but quite often it would flash. And I want to show you an example. And if you would, Try it and let me know. Are you experiencing the same thing? I know there are so many issues with external monitors, but this was not an external monitor. I disconnected the monitor and tried it again on just the native screen, the built-in screen, and it did the same thing. So it has nothing to do with connecting to any type of monitor. It appears to be the internal GPUs of the Mac M1. I'd also be curious, does it happen on the M1 Mini? The MacBook Air, I can't imagine it wouldn't. I imagine they use the same GPUs, but I'd surely like to know. So here's an example of what I do every day in PowerPoint. So if we pull up the new Mac M1, I open Storyblocks. I just pick a random MP4, any of the B-roll clips, and I just downloaded it to, in this case, my download directory. So I go back to then PowerPoint, and I open a brand new presentation, just a blank presentation. I fired up Camtasia to record the screen. Camtasia has nothing to do with it. This problem happened long before Camtasia was introduced. So then I just open a blank presentation. I like to get rid of the guides. They just get in my way. And then I just drop and drag or insert the video into that blank PowerPoint slide. And depending on the type of MP4, sometimes you can just drag it and let it go, and sometimes you do have to use the insert video command. So in this case, I did the insert video, and I just dropped it in to that blank presentation. I cropped the video just to make it fit to the right size. There's a setting that says play automatically as soon as the slide starts. There's another checkbox that says repeat until end of slide. So they're the two settings that we use to make it loop. And as you can see, it plays back fine. There's no flashing, there's no jerkiness or anything. It just plays back perfectly. And when we're all finished, we just export that slide, that single slide, to an MP4. And you can choose things like quality. And the middle setting is internet quality, which I use all the time. And then how long do you want it to play? And I usually set it for 10 seconds max. And it only takes a few seconds to render. It's very quick because, again, it's just a very short video. This one, again, will play for 10 seconds plus or minus. I rendered this into my downloads. So if I click on that same video, you can see already the very first frame is distorted with this blue overlay. And then as we watch the video, you'll notice it will flash. And in this one, it flashes blue. I've had them flash in a pink color, in a red color, in a yellow color. So I'm not sure where it's picking up that color, but you can see it's unusable. And this isn't something you could fix in post. You know, it ruins the film. And here's another quick example. You can see it again almost immediately. The very first frame goes blue, and then it starts flashing, in this case, in blue again. I've tried it with several different types of MP4s that I've shot myself on my own series of cameras. Obviously, Storyblocks, B-roll, other B-roll that I had from some customer shots. So I bought an M1. I expected to use it as a second production studio unit. And of course I can't. The two things that I do each and every single day, it just will not work. If anyone out there can prove this for me and get the same results that I get, I would love to know in the comment area. Otherwise, just post other things that you found on the Mac. We know about the USB speed issues with the Thunderbolt ports. We know about different monitors like the BenQ having problems. We certainly know now about any plugins, anything that is not native Apple applications. So as we find more and more about the M1, I'd love to know about it. And I'll keep posting videos like this when I find issues with the new M1s. Thanks for watching. And if you like this video, please give it a like. And thanks again.